The sky was burning. Lieutenant Jason Cole lay on his back, staring up through the broken glass of his helmet. His ears were ringing. Smoke filled the air. The dropship had crashed hard. He could taste blood in his mouth, and one arm was not moving. The jungle around him was on fire. Trees, twisted metal, and black smoke covered everything. The sound of dying engines and small explosions echoed in the distance. He pushed himself up, breathing hard. His squad was gone. No movement, no signals. He was alone. Jason grabbed his rifle, limping through the wreckage. The mission had failed. The ship was supposed to land quietly. A quick recovery job. But they were ambushed before touchdown. Alien plasma cannons from the trees. He moved carefully through the smoke and fire, looking for supplies, looking for any survivors. Then he saw her dot at first. He thought it was just rubble, a pile of armor, glass, and purple blood. But then, it moved. A hand reached out weakly. A strange hand. 4 fingers, long and thin, tipped with small claws. An alien. She was lying against a broken metal panel, half buried under debris. Her armor was different, not military. Light and smooth, more like a scientist or technician. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faint blue. She looked at him, not with hate, not with fear, but pain. Jason raised his rifle. She didn't move. "Don't," she said softly. Her voice was shaky. Her words came with a strange accent, but they were in English. Jason narrowed his eyes. "Your enemy, your people killed mine." "I know," she whispered. "Please, take me with you, or leave me to die." Jason stepped closer, confused. She was injured badly. One leg bent the wrong way. Cuts all over her arms. Her breathing was weak. But still, she didn't beg for mercy. She didn't cry. Just those words, quiet and cold. "Why should I help you?" he asked. She looked away. "Because I didn't choose this war." Jason's finger touched the trigger. He could end it right now. She was no threat. Just another alien body on a field full of them. But something stopped him. She looked human, in a way. The way she struggled to breathe. The way her hands trembled. The fear in her voice, not for herself, but for being left alone. He lowered his gun. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lyra," she said. "I was part of the science crew. I didn't fight. I ran. I was hiding when the ship crashed." Jason looked around. They were deep inside enemy territory. No clear signal, no rescue in sight. And now an alien asking for help. "This is a mistake," he muttered. But still, he dropped his pack and moved toward her. He pulled the wreckage off. Her slowly. She screamed once, then bit her lip to stay quiet. Blood ran down her side. Jason looked at her leg. It was broken, badly. He had to tie it up, or she wouldn't survive the next mile. "You're lucky I'm better than your people," he said. She gave a faint smile. "I know." He tore cloth from a fallen crew member's uniform, wrapped her leg, gave her water. He kept checking the sky. Any movement could mean a patrol. Or worse. "Can you walk?" She shook her head. "Not far." "Then I'll carry you." Her eyes widened. "Why?" "Because I'd want someone to do the same for me." He picked her up. She was lighter than he expected. Her armor was smooth, almost warm to the touch. She rested her head on his shoulder, weak but still breathing. As he moved through the smoke, something inside him changed. He still didn't trust her. But something told him this was important. She was important. Behind them, fire swallowed the wreckage. In front of them, the jungle waited, dark, silent, watching, and somewhere, both their people would be looking for them. But not to rescue to finish the job. Jason walked on, rifle ready. Lyra in his arms. Neither of them spoke for a long time, but her words stayed in his mind. "Take me with you, or leave me to die." And he had chosen. She watched him while he slept. Not with hate, not with fear, with curiosity. The human was different. He didn't tie her up, didn't ask questions. He had saved her, and now he was snoring softly, his gun still in his arms, as if he didn't even trust the trees. Lyra didn't understand him. Her people called humans monsters. Wild, violent, dangerous. But this one had carried her through fire, gave her water, even wrapped her broken leg. Why? She didn't know. She looked at the wound on his forehead, dried blood. His armor was cracked. One wrong step, and he'd collapse. And yet, he had carried her for 3 hours through the jungle. Lyra looked at her hands. She had never killed anyone. She worked in research labs. She studied languages. She had read about humans. But she had never expected to meet one, and now one had saved her life. Jason woke up with a grunt, eyes sharp, hand on his rifle. Lyra didn't move. You were watching. "Me," he said. "I thought you might stop breathing," she answered. "Were you hoping for that?" She gave a small smile. "No." Jason sat up. He checked the sky. No sign of drones, no rescue. His cum was dead. They were truly alone. "I need to find higher ground," he said. "Maybe I can get a signal out. I know a place." Lyra replied. Jason paused. "You do?" She nodded. "There's a ridge, east side. My people used to use it for long-range coms. But it's risky." Jason raised an eyebrow. "Why tell me this now?" Lyra looked down. "Because if we stay here, we die." They moved slowly. Jason supported Lyra with one arm. She tried to walk on her broken leg, but gave up after a few painful steps. Still, she kept pointing the way, guiding him through hidden paths in the forest. As they walked, Jason noticed something strange. She didn't act like an enemy. She helped him avoid traps, warned him of poisonous plants. Once, she even pulled him back just before he stepped into a sinkhole. "You know a lot about this place," he said. "I spent 2 years studying this planet," she replied. "Mapping it, listening." "Listening to what?" She looked at the trees. "The planet speaks. Your people just don't hear it." Jason rolled his eyes. "Great, you're a philosopher." "No," she said. "Just someone who was forced to be useful." They reached the ridge by sunset. The view was wide. Mountains, rivers, deep jungle below. Jason set up a basic antenna, hoping for a signal. Static. He adjusted frequencies. More static. Lyra sat beside him, hugging her knees. "What happens if your people find us first?" Jason asked suddenly. She didn't answer right away. "They won't take me back," she said quietly. "They think I'm broken." "Why?" "I asked questions," she replied. "About peace, about your people. They didn't like that." Jason turned to look at her. "You're not what I expected," he said. She smiled sadly. "Neither are you." Suddenly, a sharp beep broke the silence. Jason's cum blinked. Signal detected. He quickly pressed the transmit button. "This is LT Cole. Unit 9. Crash Site Alpha. 1 survivor. Requesting evac." Lyra's eyes went wide. "No, stop." She grabbed his hand, weak but urgent. Jason pulled away. "What are you doing?" "They'll trace that signal," she said. "They're watching this frequency. My people, they'll come. And if they find us," she didn't finish, but Jason saw the fear in her face. Real fear. Then he heard it, a distant hum. High above. Drones. He smashed the antenna. The signal cut out. Lyra closed her eyes, breathing fast. Jason stood still, rifle ready. "You were telling the truth," he said. She nodded. "They're not here to rescue. Not me. Not you." The humming grew louder. They had minutes. Jason turned to her. "Can you move?" "Not fast enough," she said. He didn't wait. He lifted her again, ignoring the pain in his side. And he ran down the other side of the ridge, into the thickest part of the jungle. Behind them, the sky burned again. Jason stopped walking. Something felt wrong. The air was quiet. Too quiet. No bugs, no birds. No sound. He scanned the jungle. With sharp eyes. Rifle ready. Beside him, Lyra whispered, "Step back, 2 meters." "What?" Jason whispered, "Step back." He didn't question it. He moved, and the ground in front of him collapsed. A deep pit, hidden under fake leaves and mud, opened like a mouth. Sharp metal spikes inside gleamed in the shadows. Jason's heart raced. "That would have killed me," he muttered. Lyra only nodded. He turned to her slowly. "How did you know that was there?" "I remembered," she said. Jason stared at her. "That trap was buried, hidden. My scanners didn't even pick it up." "I helped build it," Lyra said quietly. "Long ago, before I changed sides." They found a small cave to rest. The drones had passed, but patrols would follow. Jason kept his back to the wall, his gun across his lap. Lyra sat opposite him, hugging her knees. Her leg was getting worse. She needed help soon. Jason watched her in silence. There was something about her, something strange. She was soft-spoken, gentle, but also dangerous. She knew more about this jungle than any human ever had. Paths, sounds, traps. She saw patterns he didn't, knew dangers before they appeared. "You said you were a scientist," Jason said. "I was," she replied. "But you also built war traps." She looked away. "I was told it was for defense, for peace. And now I know it was for war." Later that night, it rained. Jason stood at the edge of the cave, looking up. Cold drops hit his face. He didn't care. Lyra joined him, leaning against the wall. "You should sleep," he said. "I can't," she answered. "This planet doesn't sleep, it remembers." Jason looked at her. "What does that mean?" She pointed toward the trees. "There's a sound. Deep underground. My people never heard it. But I did." Jason listened. Nothing. "You're talking like a mystic now," he said. She smiled. "Maybe. Or maybe I just listen better than most." As dawn broke, Jason checked his map. "We're 3 clicks from the evac point," he said. "If my people got the signal before I smashed the antenna, they might send a ship." "They will," Lyra said. Jason frowned. "How do you know?" She hesitated. "I was trained to predict human behavior. I studied your military, your psychology, your rescue patterns." "You studied us?" "Yes," she said. "My assignment was Earth-based observation. I lived in disguise for 2 years." Jason took a step back. "You were on Earth?" She nodded. "I walked your streets. I watched your cities. I read your books. I drank your coffee. I laughed at your movies." Jason's jaw tightened. "You were spying." "I was learning," she said. "And I loved what I found." Silence. The jungle buzzed softly in the background. Jason looked at her like a puzzle he didn't want to solve. "Tell me one thing," he said finally. "Why did you come back to your people?" Her eyes grew distant. "Because I thought I could help change them, and they changed me instead." As they prepared to move again, Lyra stopped suddenly. Her eyes went cold. "What is it?" Jason asked. She raised a shaking finger toward a fallen tree. "It's not a tree," she said. Jason looked closer, then froze. It was a camouflage turret, a deadly one, human-made, and it was aimed at them. Jason cursed and pulled her down. Just in time as a red light blinked on the barrel. "Why the hell is our own tech trying to kill us?" he shouted. Lyra's face turned pale. "That's not your tech anymore. It's been reprogrammed." Jason looked at her. "By who?" She didn't answer, but he already knew. Her people. "Don't touch that," she said. Jason froze, his hand hovering over the unit hidden inside. His armor pouch. He had just found it. A backup transmitter, shielded and silent. Last chance to call his people. Last hope of getting out alive. Lyra's voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp, focused, afraid. "If you turn it on," she said, "they'll hear it too." Jason narrowed his eyes. "You mean your people?" No, she said. Both. The cave was quiet again. Jason stepped back slowly, holding the cum in one hand, staring at Lyra like she was made of glass and smoke. Start explaining, he said. Lyra sat down, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her voice was low, like she was confessing to ghosts. My people don't trust me. After I came back from Earth, they scanned my mind. I hid things, but they still saw enough. They called me infected, unclean. Jason said nothing. She looked at him. They were tracking me before the crash. I know the frequency. If you turn that on, they'll find us. Your people might come too, but not fast enough. Jason looked at the device in his hand. One button, one signal, but it could also be a beacon. For a kill squad. Why didn't you destroy it? He asked. I didn't know you had it. You know everything else. Not everything, she said. Just more than I'm supposed to. Hours passed. They moved through the forest again. Slower this time. Jason was tired. Lyra was weaker. Her leg had swollen, and her skin was turning pale. They needed help. Jason's mind kept returning to the transmitter. He had kept it. But he didn't press the button. Not yet. Later that night, they made camp beneath an old rock overhang. Jason built a fire, small, smokeless. Just enough to keep the cold away. Lyra lay nearby, breathing softly, eyes half closed. Jason sat close, staring into the flames. He couldn't stop thinking about the message he'd almost sent. And why he didn't. Why did you come to Earth? He asked suddenly. Lyra didn't open her eyes. To understand what made your people dangerous. And what did you find? She smiled faintly. That you weren't dangerous, you were terrifying, because you cared. Jason frowned. What? Your people love fiercely, fight like animals, protect like gods. You cry at music, you die for strangers. You forgive your enemies. You break all rules for the people you love. Jason stared at her. That's not terrifying, he said. To my people, it is, she whispered. Because it's not logic. It's not order. It's chaos. And it's beautiful. The next morning, Jason woke up to a sound, not footsteps. A signal. He pulled the cum out. It was blinking. Slowly. A signal was nearby, human or alien. He didn't know. Someone's broadcasting, he said. Lyra opened her eyes fast. That's not good. Jason stood up. Could be my team. Could be my people. Jason made a decision. We go check. They followed the signal to a small hill, covered in moss and fallen branches. At the top, a human distress pod, blinking weakly. Jason ran ahead, opened it. Empty. But the transmitter was still running, and next to it, something scratched into the dirt. Too late. Jason's gut turned cold. Lyra turned pale. They left it here to lure you. Before he could react, something moved behind them. Jason spun around, rifle raised, but it was too late. A voice from the trees, robotic, metallic, alien. Surrender the asset. You are surrounded. Jason looked at Lyra. She didn't beg. She didn't speak. She just stared at him, waiting to see what he would do. He raised the cum and crushed it under his boot. He was bleeding badly. Jason's vision blurred. One hand pressed against his side. Warm blood soaked through his armor. They had escaped the ambush, but just barely. Now he was down, and Lyra was dragging him, step by step through thick jungle vines, whispering words he couldn't understand. Don't close your eyes, she said. Her voice trembled. Not with fear, with something else. An hour earlier, Jason had taken the shot while pushing Lyra out of the way. A plasma round grazed his ribs, burning deep. He hadn't screamed, but now, lying on the wet jungle floor, eyes barely open, he could barely speak. You have to leave me. No, Lyra whispered. I won't, Jason coughed. You said it yourself. Your people want you, not me. That's why I'm not leaving, she said. You're the only thing that makes me, not them. They found a hollow tree to hide in. It was dark, quiet, smelled like earth and damp. Roots. Lyra lit a small bio-lamp from her kit. Its blue glow washed over Jason's pale face. She tore open his armor. Her hands were shaking. You studied humans, Jason muttered. You know how to fix this? I studied your minds, she whispered. Not your bodies. Jason laughed weakly. Well, that's too bad. Then he passed out. Lyra stared at him. She had no med-kit. No tools. Only knowledge and the fear of losing him. She reached into her own wrist slot and pulled out a thin needle, alien tech. High risk. She had used it once on herself to survive. Cold planets. Now. She would use it on him. She pressed it into his arm and whispered something in her language. Not a spell, not a prayer, just a memory. Please wake up. Human. I'm not ready to be alone again. He woke up hours later, sweating, shaking, breathing. Alive. He blinked at her through heavy eyes. You stayed. Of course, she said softly. You could have gone. Saved yourself. Lyra smiled. I could have. But I'm not just one of them anymore. Jason looked at her. His mind was foggy, but his heart felt clear. You're not just alien, he said. And you, she whispered, are not just human. The rain fell outside. Soft, gentle. Inside the tree, silence. Then Jason spoke again, voice low and tired. I was trained to see all of you as the enemy. I was trained to never feel for you, she said. They both smiled. Something in them, something trained, was dying, and something new was being born, outside. Unseen, a small red eye blinked from the branches. A scout drone. Watching. Recording. And silently flying back to report what it saw. A human, an enemy, and the traitor who chose him. For the first time, he dreamed. Jason saw Earth. A sunrise on metal rooftops. Coffee in hand, wind in his hair. A normal day, with no war, no guns, no aliens. And beside him, laughing softly, was Lyra. Not in armor. Not in pain. Just there. Whole, alive, real. He reached out to touch her hand, and woke up to the sound of something clicking outside the cave. Footsteps. Heavy, close. Not a dream. A warning. Jason sat up fast. His wound throbbed, but he was stronger now. Thanks. To her, Lyra was already awake. Her eyes locked on his. They found us, she said. Jason grabbed his gear. Rifle already charged. We run, he said. No, Lyra whispered. We finish this. Outside, 3 enemy scouts circled the area. Not machines this time, soldiers. Real ones, quiet, trained. But Jason had been trained too. He waited. Watch. And when the third one stepped too close, crack. One shot. One. Body down. Then chaos. Jason moved like a ghost through the trees. Quick, brutal, efficient. Lyra stayed hidden. But when one soldier broke off toward her, she didn't hesitate. She stabbed him with her own tech blade. One strike. No mercy. When it was over, both were breathing hard. Jason looked at her. You're getting good at this. I had a good teacher, she said. They didn't wait. Jason and Lyra pushed through the jungle, both wounded, both exhausted, until they reached the final ridge. Below them, a wide, open crater. In the center, the evac point. And hovering above it, blinking in and out through the clouds, a human dropship. Jason grabbed his scope. I can't believe it, he said. They actually came. Lyra stepped beside him. Then go, she said. This is your chance. Jason stared at her. What are you talking about? They won't take me, she said. You know that. He was quiet. She stepped back. You made a promise once, at the crash site. Jason remembered her voice, broken and bleeding. Take me with you. Or leave me to die. And he had chosen her then. He would choose her again. We're going together, Jason said. Lyra looked down at her hands. If I go with you, they'll put me in a cage, maybe worse. Then I'll break the cage. She looked up and smiled. They ran down the ridge, across the crater. The evac ship began lowering, ramp descending, soldiers waiting. But so were the enemy ships. Two shadows moved fast in the sky. Lyra's people. Jason grabbed her hand. Don't stop. A voice shouted from the dropship. Only one of you. That's the order. We don't have time. Jason didn't even hesitate. Then, make time, he yelled. She comes or I don't. Gunfire. The ground shook. One enemy fighter exploded in midair, taken out by the evac ship's cannon. The other was circling back. Jason shoved Lyra up the ramp. She turned, saw the human officer block Jason's path. Only one seat left. The officer screamed. She's not one of us. She's with me, Jason said. No exceptions. Jason looked at Lyra and did something she didn't expect. He pushed the officer aside. Hard. Gun raised. She gets on. Jason growled, or I shoot my way. On. The officer hesitated, then stepped back. Fine, but she's your responsibility. Jason smiled. She always was. As the ramp closed, Lyra gripped his hand tightly. She looked at him, eyes wide. You were willing to die for me. I still am, Jason said, but I'd rather live with you. Outside, the jungle burned above. The stars waited and for the first time. They were going home together. Three men in gray uniforms sat behind a table. Their faces were blank. The lights above them were harsh. Clinical. Jason stood tall, hands behind his back, bandages across his ribs. Armor torn, but eyes clear. And beside him, in cuffs, stood Lyra, hair tied back, hands still. Face calm. One of the men, a commander, spoke. You brought the enemy aboard your ship. Jason didn't blink. I brought back the one who saved my life. Another officer leaned forward. She's not human. She's a threat. Jason turned to Lyra. She's better than some humans I've known. The room was silent. Then the third man asked quietly, why her? Jason thought for a moment. She could have let me die. She didn't. I could have left her behind. I didn't. We survived together. We changed together. The commander leaned back. And what do you expect us to do now? Give her citizenship? A medal? Jason's voice was steady. No, just give her a choice. Something she's never had. Later that night, Jason sat alone. He looked out the window of the orbital base, at the stars, the clouds of Earth glowing below. He hadn't seen it in over a year, and he didn't care. Not unless she could see it. Two footsteps. He turned. Lyra stood at the door. No cuffs, no guards. Just a small data pad in her hand. He stood. What did they say? She walked closer. They said I'm not a prisoner, she whispered. Jason raised an eyebrow. But I'm not free either. I'm under review. Monitored. He nodded. That's more than I expected. She handed him the data pad. On it was a message, simple and cold. Temporary protection granted. One sponsor required. Responsibility accepted. Jason Cole. He laughed. I'm your babysitter now? She smirked. You were always that. They walked the halls of the base together. People stared. Some whispered. But no one said anything to their faces. Jason didn't care. And Lyra? She stared out every window like a child seeing the world for the first time. Then they reached the hangar. New ship stood waiting. Jason's name was already on the manifest. He turned to her. This one's going to the edge of the system. Not Earth. Not yet. Lyra looked at the stars. Wherever it goes, she said. Just take me with you, Jason smiled. Always. As they stepped into the ship, she paused at the door, looked back once at the world that had hated her, feared her, and almost erased her. Then she turned to the man who had broken every rule for her, and followed him. Inside. Final shot. The ship detaches, glides through black space. 1 human. 1 alien. No orders. No cages. just a new beginning, together.